All right, so we're making a lot of progress. We're actually about done. I'm just finishing up the hem stitch on this project, and then we'll actually be able to cut it off the loom. And at that point, we will work on the fringes. So we're mostly there and getting to the big reveal. So I'm pretty excited about that. So we're just making sure the hem stitch up here matches what we did at the bottom, so that when we do the fringes, they're even. So let's get this across and through. I will probably have about 9-10 inches of waist on this side of the loom, just because whenever you're doing something with heddle rods and pickup sticks, if you keep advancing your warp, you're gonna get a lot of snags and floats. At least I do, because it just starts to make the sheds a lot smaller, to where it becomes very difficult to effectively use them. But that's okay, because we anticipated having some waste, and I actually plan to save the waste, because I actually save all of my waste for my own secret projects. Not sure if we'll ever get to those, but one day we might. But I do save all of my waste to use for future projects and different items. And it's no different with the silk. I separate them by type. So if it's silk, it goes in one bag. If it's wool, it goes in another. And if it's cotton, it goes in another. So right now, I mostly have those 3 bags, although I have a small stash I need to get its own bag for of bamboo. But I haven't been using too much of that, so my waste stash has stayed fairly small for that. So I haven't really put it in its own bag yet. But occasionally when you're doing a wide project like this, you'll notice the string when I'm hem stitching gets a little knotted, and that's fine. We just boop, undo it, give it a little tug, and it's clear, which is fine. And I will check back in with you guys in a little bit when we're about to cut this off the loom. All right, so now we can go ahead and cut this off. Got it completely secured. And then we got our stick, we got our heddle rod out, and we can unwrap the warp. And now we just have to untie. All right, so now I just have to do some fringes, but we've got a nice little shawl here. Throw it over our shoulders, fits nice, wrap around. And let's do some fringes. So what I have here is our finished shawl, and you can see this is kind of the front. It's got that beautiful Hucklace pattern that you're used to seeing. And then on the back, we still have this very fun kind of reverse of it. I like the front more, but some people do prefer the back. That's up to you. So when I started this project, I intended it to be about 60 inches long. It's a little short, so I needed a little bit more warp than I put on, because it's only about 57 inches long, maybe, yeah, roughly about 57 inches long. So it's about 3.5 inches short, which is a little disappointing, but that's okay. Uh, the rest of the pattern came out beautifully. I have almost no major floats or anything like that, so I'm really happy with it. I think I got one float that's kind of noticeable, but we won't tell anyone, right? And I did have enough fabric to make it longer. So if it's something you wanted to do, I purchased 3 rolls of each color. 2 were completely untouched. Uh, and then, so I used one whole roll and then part of the second 2. I used probably a little over half of the black and very little of the pebble. So I could have made it longer and just finished up this second roll of black, and then I probably would have been much happier with the length. So I probably should have done that, but it's okay. And I would have had plenty of this to go that extra few inches if I had. So this completed, I did 12 ends per inch in a 12 dent heddle. I also ended up doing about 12 picks per inch when I was beating down. Sometimes it was a little bit more, closer to that 13, but you know, 12 is a pretty good gauge right there. I cut the fringes at 9 inches before I twisted them, and then I twisted them, and they're about 7 inches now, maybe 7.5. So they're a little bit longer than some people may like, but I actually really like the length for this project. It's very soft and shiny. And with silk, you get a lot of these things where that you don't necessarily get from every type of fiber. So it is going to have some natural UV protection, which is great for, when it's pretty sunny outside. But, since it's made from a cocoon, it's a natural insulator, so it can help keep you warm or help keep you cool, depending on your surroundings. It's basically going to help regulate. So that's something to consider when you're using it. It's more of a multi-use fiber, which is excellent. And with the built-in UV protection, that's even better. I also want to note that this is cold wash, hand wash only. So when you use silk, it will bloom even with the cold water. If you use the hot water, you're going to get a lot more loose fibers, especially with something like a Suro silk, which is usually either a recycled silk or the silk ends. So it's going to be slightly shorter fibers, and it'll start to pull apart, which you don't necessarily want to do. So don't do that. If you do want to use warm water, definitely sample first because your colors are more likely to bleed and you're more likely to have that shredding issue. Also, do not wring it. Silk is very fine. You are going to break the fibers if you're wringing it while it's wet. So you're just going to start snapping fibers, and that's not what you want. So just gently squeeze and then lay flat to dry. I did it last night. I did just a gentle squeeze, laid it on the chairs to dry overnight, and woke up this morning. It's completely dry. The fringes are dry, everything's dry. So it dries very quickly. You don't really have to worry about it. And great thing about this is it folds up really small. And if I pull it to the side, say I get a clip, I can clip it up. And now nobody knows that I have a silly shirt with a platypus on it. I have just a normal, nice t-shirt and blue jeans. So it can actually cover up a silly outfit, make it look a little bit more fancy. And all you need to do is keep a clip. So this is something that would be great for keeping in your car or whatever. So if you're an on-the-go person and you're like, oh no, I need to dress up my outfit for some reason, you can kind of hide the fact that it's a little bit silly by just attaching a little clip right here, and then it would hold on, and you have this beautiful silk shawl, and your outfit's a little bit more dressy. So I absolutely love this. It was a really fun project. It took me a little longer than I anticipated, but I've just been having a hard time getting motivated for this project. I don't really know why, but once I really got my mindset into it, I enjoyed every minute of it. So, you know, just sometimes you have those days where you're just like, eh. But now that it's done, I'm very happy with it. And I'd like to thank you for watching. I'd love to see what you guys did. If you guys did something similar with silk, or if you guys decided to use a different fiber. I know we had talked about some other fibers I've done a similar pattern with in the last video. So I'd love to see what you guys have been doing on the side. And as far as next or this Thursday, there will not be a video because it's Thanksgiving and I figure everybody's going to be at home visiting with their family. I may drop a little short, you know, happy Thanksgiving, but as of right now, my intention is just to say happy Thanksgiving, have a great one with your family. That's what I plan on doing. And overall, I'm super excited about this project. Let me know what you think and if you've made any changes on yours and what those changes were. Have a great one.